When the score becomes the enemy, why chasing numbers kills your performance. A must-read for every shooter who has stared at the scoreboard more than the sights. Every shooter remembers that moment, heart pounding, sights aligned, trigger ready. But instead of focusing on the shot, your brain whispers, "This one must be a 10.9. The shot breaks, and the monitor flashes 9.7. Instantly, you are frustrated, distracted, and your rhythm is gone. This is the silent trap of focusing on the score instead of the process, a habit that turns even the most talented shooters into their own worst enemy. Almost every shooter, from beginner to Olympian, has fallen into this cycle at some point, chasing results instead of trusting their shot process. There is a scientific reason behind this problem. Every time you see a score after a shot, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical linked to pleasure and reward. When you hit a 10, your brain celebrates. When you hit a 9, it punishes you with stress. Over time, this reward-punishment cycle creates an unconscious addiction to scores. You begin to crave that 10.9 feeling rather than the satisfaction of a perfectly executed shot. The more you chase this dopamine high, the more your focus drifts away from the process that actually produces the score. Type of problem. This is primarily a psychological and process-related issue, with minor physical implications. When a shooter becomes outcome-driven, thinking about scores, rankings, or others' performance, they lose touch with the present moment and execution flow. The mind starts anticipating instead of observing, predicting instead of performing. This problem often arises due to pressure to perform or please parents or coaches, fear of failure or comparison with peers, lack of clear pre-shot routine and mental anchor, inconsistent post-shot reflection habits. When a shooter starts thinking of the result, the body also reacts. The nervous system becomes slightly overactive, causing a stress response. This leads to small muscle contractions in the shoulders, neck, and fingers. These micro-tensions disturb the natural stability of the hold, alter the breathing rhythm, and make the trigger finger stiff. The mind and body together form a loop where mental distraction creates physical disturbance, and that disturbance reinforces mental doubt. Effects on performance. Technical impact. Shots become rushed or overheld as attention drifts away from the feel of the process. Grouping widens. The difference between an 8.9 and a 10.3 may be just 2 mm of mental distraction. Timing rhythm breaks, leading to inconsistent holds and trigger squeeze. Scat or Noptel traces show erratic movement before shot release, indicating mental tension. Quantified deviation. A shooter obsessed with score can easily lose 5 to 8 points per 60-shot match, not due to skill but due to mental interference. When a shooter becomes result-oriented, Scat or Noptel data shows specific patterns. The trace before firing becomes shaky and inconsistent. The trigger release gets delayed by a fraction of a second because the shooter hesitates, trying to force perfection. The post-shot trace often snaps away instead of following through smoothly, which is a sign of anxiety and judgment taking over the process. Psychological impact. When focus shifts to the result, the brain enters judgment mode instead of execution mode. Each shot becomes a verdict of worth, leading to stress, overthinking, and frustration. The fear of the next bad shot builds anxiety loops. Over time, confidence erodes, and shooters start expecting failure rather than creating success. Long-term, this mental noise blocks natural learning, resulting in burnout and inconsistency. The shooter starts associating the range with pressure, not passion. To break this cycle, the mind must be trained to stay in the present moment. Practicing mindfulness and reframing negative thoughts into constructive ones can help. Learn to accept each shot as data, not drama. Embrace the 9s and 8s as valuable feedback rather than personal failure. The goal should be to view every shot as an opportunity to refine the process, not to confirm your worth as a shooter. Identification of the problem. You can recognize this issue if you check the monitor instantly after every shot. You feel happy only when you shoot 10s and frustrated with 9s. You lose rhythm after one bad shot. You can't recall how a shot felt, only what the score was. You rush to calculate totals during practice instead of refining groups. Differentiation tip. A shooter with genuine process focus stays emotionally neutral, regardless of the last shot's score. One more subtle sign is physical tension after a low score. Shoulders may tighten, the breathing rhythm may become shallow, and the next shot is taken in a hurry to recover from the last one. This constant reaction pattern keeps the nervous system overactive and fatigues both mind and body during matches. Remedies and corrections. 1. Physical fixes. Practice no monitor sessions. Cover the screen and focus only on feel. Do dry firing with emphasis on grip, stance, and follow-through consistency. Incorporate breathing awareness, it resets attention into the present moment. Add a body scan pause before aiming. Consciously release your shoulders and feel your balance. 2. Technical corrections. Use scatter-knopftel analysis to observe your trace patterns. Aim for smooth pre-trigger stability rather than score. Simulate matches focusing purely on rhythm, not results. Use journals to note what you did right, not what you scored. 3. Mental remedies. Create a reset routine. After each shot, take a deep breath and say, "Next process." Write affirmations like, "I execute shots, I don't chase numbers." Use visualization drills to reprogram focus toward sensations and movements. Include finger-to-feel resets. Touch the trigger pad after each shot to feel control rather than emotion. Practice a visual reset blink where you close your eyes for 1 second, breathe, and open them into the sight picture with calm focus. Choose a personal keyword like steady, smooth, or flow to anchor your thoughts before each shot. Progressive drills and workouts. For beginners, at home, do mirror drills focusing on natural aiming rhythm and breathing. Journal your feel after each shot instead of score. Practice balance and posture drills, such as standing on one leg while exhaling slowly to build body awareness. For intermediate shooters, range, conduct, no score days, where you shoot 30 to 40 shots without checking results. Pair with another shooter and give process-based feedback to each other. Practice delayed feedback sessions where you see your scores only after a series of 5 shots. For advanced shooters, competition, practice pressure drills. Simulate finals but restrict yourself to internal goals like clean release, calm hold, or steady trigger. Integrate mindfulness routines, breath anchoring, progressive relaxation, or focus word repetition. Train using the selective ignorance method. Look at the score but remain emotionally still for 5 seconds before reacting. Use the 1-1-1 rule, 1 breath, 1 thought, 1 shot, nothing else matters. Fitness and mental training integration. Add balance board exercises to improve posture awareness. Include 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing post-training to reset focus. Use journaling and visualization as part of daily routine. Practice yoga stretches like cat-cow and child's pose to release tension in the back and shoulders. Journaling habit. After each session, write 3 lines in your diary. What felt good today? What broke focus? What will I do differently next time? This simple reflection habit transforms learning and emotional stability. Under the latest ISSF regulations, with electronic targets and visible scoring monitors, the temptation to check scores after every shot has increased. Finals time limits amplify this. Shooters who lose rhythm due to one bad score often cannot recover within short time frames. ISSF encourages consistency in shot cycle timing, which becomes almost impossible if focus wavers toward results. Hence, process discipline has become more critical than ever. To train under real ISSF conditions, simulate finals pressure with countdown timers and visible screens but practice staying mentally calm. Teach the mind to use the scoreboard as feedback for pace and rhythm, not as judgment of performance. Imagine a shooter scoring 620 plus in practice but only managing 606 in a match. On reviewing SCAT data, it's clear that in the match, their trigger rhythm delayed by 0.4 seconds per shot and the trace showed micro tremors before firing, a clear sign of mental interference. In another case, a junior shooter improved from 602 to 618 within 3 weeks after switching from score journals to process journals. The only change? Writing about how shots felt instead of what they scored. One Olympic-level shooter once revealed that before he won gold, he spent months training not to react to his scores. He said, "When I focused on the process, the result came by itself." This simple mindset shift made him unshakable in finals, where every shot was being displayed on giant screens in front of a global audience. A wise coach once said, "When you aim for the center, your mind stays still. When you aim for the score, your mind starts to shake." Shooting is not about chasing numbers, it's about mastering moments. Each shot is a conversation between your breath, your body, and your mind. The scoreboard will eventually bow down to consistency, not emotion. Remember, the scoreboard only reflects what your process produces. The process reflects your discipline. And discipline reflects your mindset. Have you ever found yourself distracted by the score monitor? What helped you get your focus back on process? Share your experience, it might help another shooter rediscover their calm. If you've ever battled this score trap, remember, awareness is the first step toward mastery. Like and share this post with your shooter friends who need to hear this. Subscribe to my YouTube channel Horizon Shooting Sports for more practical insights on shooting psychology, training drills, and equipment mastery. Contact me for mental training, shooting coaching, and world-class shooting accessories that help you shoot like a pro. Let's build a community that values growth over numbers, and process over perfection.